peeps, welcome back to another episode of 3 for Thursday, where I share 3 things about something on Thursday. I'm your host, Gladdy from Heart Take the Wheel. I'm your brand and business photographer. So, in today's episode, I'm sharing 3 photography purchases that I regret. And I think this is hilarious. I actually had to do a lot of thinking because I do know, just in recollection of feeling and emotion, that there have been purchases and I'm like, that hurt. Because you pay money for something and you think it's going to solve all your problems in that area or whatever, and it does absolutely nothing it promises on, or it just sucks, or it's not the right fit for you and what you need to use it for, or etc, etc, etc. I know we've all been there in one field or another, whether it's photography or not. So I think this is fun. Okay, I'm going to dive in, but before I do, I wanted to quickly say that sometimes it's hard to say I regret, because to me, whenever you dive in and you make these purchases and then you're like, oh, you don't like it, or it sucks, or it just does not do what promised, or doesn't do what expected, or it just fails hard, when these things happen, you quickly learn a lesson, and that lesson is then applied in your next purchase, and then you're a wiser shopper in the future. So I can't say like never ever super regret, but I can say that I did learn some lessons from these, and maybe you can take that to the bank and then not make the same mistakes. So here we go. Number 1, it should be pretty obvious. Most photographers do this, I think. We invest in some shitty lighting, and I'm just gonna put it out there. Crappy lighting or crappy lighting modifiers. I'm kind of gonna jump that together. So for example, I bought a little ring light that screws onto your lens, and it sucked. Yeah, it just sucked. It really sucked, and I put my family through the torture of being my models to figure that out very quickly. And I was like, oh, maybe it's just me, because I thought, okay, well, it's got this frosty overlay on it, and it's got its LEDs, and you have different settings on it to be like soft, medium, and super bright, and all of it sucked. It just super sucked. And I was basically purchasing that for the sole purpose of not spending the money to get the ring light, right? The ring light that's on a stand that most people are quite familiar with by now. It's like a diva light, a ring light, whatever you want to call it. It's on a stand, and it's a huge ring, and it's full of LED lights, and it does fit a purpose in a lot of places. I personally don't like it myself, but that's because it sucks for glasses. But I will say, I was basically trying to buy that, but I wasn't ready to commit to the purchase of it. So I wanted to, cheat the system. That's usually why we make these mistakes, right? In purchases that we regret, is usually because we want this thing, and we know this thing is gonna get us the result we want, but we're not ready yet to commit there, so we buy this other thing instead. And sometimes, I won't lie, sometimes there are alternatives, purchases like that work out to be better or on par, or they work for the time being and can give you those results, but mostly they don't. And this did not. This sucked. This was painful. It was too bright. It was just terrible all around. I think I tested it on my family, and I never pulled it out since, and then I got rid of it. So that's why I can't show it to you. I wish I could show you my terrible mistakes that I purchased, but I'm one of those people that, like, if I'm not using it, I get rid of it. I just do a huge trip and donate all the things to people that hopefully can get better use out of it than, I don't know, or I throw things away. Like, I get that angry, and I just like, this sucks, it will serve no one. Trash. Okay, so yes, little cheap lights. I will say, I almost told you that number 1 was like those like softbox kits that you buy on Amazon for real cheap, that come in like a 3-pack with this like rectangle softbox, and it's a kit of 3 light stands with 3 fluorescent like heads with the fluorescent bulbs and all of the yeah, I hope you know what I'm talking about. I was going to say that I super regret that because when I purchased it, it definitely didn't do, I didn't know how to control light when I purchased it, is the problem. That's why I don't really super regret it, because I then put it in the closet in the garage somewhere for years and years, and then eventually I pulled it out when I had better knowledge of light, and I was able to turn it into something actually usable. So I'm thinking of making a video on that, because I do know a lot of us, we succumb to that, where we're like, this is cheap and it's giving us lots of light. It should totally work, right? So anyways, I didn't say that because that did end up turning into something that I could learn significantly from and then put to good use. So that's why I decided to share the little ring light thing. And I think I bought some other like lights that you add to the, you know, shoe of your camera, the hot shoe of your camera, that were similar, and they sucked, and they were just really bright, terrible lights. There are some little small lights out there that can pack a punch and have use, but these were not them. These were terrible. Number 2 would be a cheap strap. So I thought it would be really cool. Can you not? I am busy trying to record a video. There's a neighborhood cat that likes to visit us. If you've been on my Instagram, you're well familiar. And she's just over here making all kinds of noise. So number 2 mistake I made in purchasing photo gear would have been a cheap hand strap. So I was like, this is gonna be so awesome. It'll help me hold my really heavy camera, because at the time when I purchased it, I had a D7000 Nikon, right? Actually, I have it out because I was pulling it out to talk to someone else about it, which was funny. I pulled this thing out of the closet since forever, and it's been, you know, used as a demonstration purpose twice in one day. That's crazy. So I bought a camera strap that went from the little belt to the bottom of your camera, and you know, I was like, this is gonna be awesome. It was not designed really for this body. It was really cheap. Not that, you know, I wanted put a disclaimer. Usually it's the cheap stuff that ends up being a big regret, but I will say that doesn't mean it's a blanketed statement. Sometimes there's a cheaper alternative that works just as well in a lot of other cases. So I'm just saying, for these situations, it just wasn't the case. Yeah, so I bought a cheap hand strap, and it sucked, and it didn't fit my hand. It was terrible quality, and I would not trust my camera with that thing. So I ended up pretty much just throwing it away. It sucked. It was a big failure. I will say, I love hand straps though. So I ended up getting one from Spider or something. I don't know, I can link it, I guess, the company. But I ended up getting one of their hand straps that are designed for the type of camera you have. And I got one for my Sony, and it works wonders, and I love it. And it's amazing. I can't even imagine my camera without that hand strap. It's powerful what it can help you do. Like, really, I don't know. I can't even explain it. But yes, so a cheap hand strap, I definitely learned my lesson there. It was not designed for, it was supposed to be like universal. It kind of sucked. And it just sucked. It just sucked all around. And I would not trust any camera in that strap thing. Number 3 would be camera bags. I have purchased an embarrassing amount of camera bags, and nearly every one of them sucks. They suck, and it's not entirely the camera bag like problem as much as there's nowhere to like really go and test and try out all the bags in the world that are available to you, and to test them out for your gear specifically, to test them out for your usage and for how you like to wear and handle and access things. That's hard. It's just hard. So it's no one's real fault as much as my own, who's like, well, let's just buy this. It looks perfect. And then you get it and you're like, this does not fit right with what I got and this and that. And it's a mess. I have bought so many camera bags that just do not work out, and I end up forcing them because you spend a lot of money on these things, and then you just force them to work, and you get frustrated literally every time you wear them or use them or whatever. They're terrible. I don't like them. Funny thing is, my favorite camera bag ended up being like a really cheap, like $15, $20 purchase on Amazon for a backpack to travel Europe with, and it had a built-in camera thing, and I was like, I don't care if it works or not. It's not, you know, my camera bag. It ended up being my favorite bag. That is my favorite thing to use. I use it to this day, and I love it. I'm trying to find a replacement for it that's a little higher quality, but I just can't at the moment. That can, you know, hold things a little better. Anyways, it's my favorite, and it's like the crappiest one. And so that's kind of weird. I spent hundreds of dollars on, like, I can see, you know, 2 or 3, and there's some in the closet that I just do not use, have never used, or just can't get myself to use because they suck. I spent so much money on camera bags, and those are big regrets because they are very expensive. I have this massive one that was like a bag you can hold, and then it's also this huge strap, but it was like not meant for actual usage, I swear, because walking around in that thing packed with anything is just lot. It's just clumsy and clumpy and all over the place and really obnoxious to use. So that one sucked. The other one I really like the bag, but the strap sucks, and then it's one thing or the other. Camera bags are hard though. It's just, they're difficult because, like I said, you can't really try them out, and everyone's kind of needs and gear requirements and whatever is different. Every single person's bag needs are going to be different. So that's why it's just a really hard purchase to make, and it's even harder because they are expensive. So finding one that works for you and not, I don't know. If I could find, I don't even care what the price is. If I knew it was going to work for me, it's hard, guys. And then of course you put it out there that you have you're in need of a camera bag, and everyone recommends all these bags, and then you look at them and you're just like, that doesn't help. It's the same thing. I mean, you can go online and search for days. You can get recommendations for days, and it's just, nothing's going to work unless you get to try it. And unfortunately, you have to pay a lot of money to figure that out. Hey, quit being a little rascal. Alright guys, so that's my 3 for Thursday. I would love to know what your regret purchase was for something. It doesn't have to be in photography, but I'd like to know what it was. And I will see you in the next